Welcome back to Play the Game HQ. I'm Daniel, and in this video we're going to teach you how to play Parks Roll and Hike. It's designed by Henry Audubon, and it's published by Keymaster Games. In Parks Roll and Hike, you'll be trekking your way through one of 6 national parks using dice to fill your canteen, spot wildlife, write in your journal, and collect park bonuses over your 3 days on the trail. To set up the game, each player takes a pencil and a logbook and opens it to a fresh page, then lay out the trail board and put the boot marker on the starting space and randomly place 1 trail token face up on each of the 5 trail markers along the map. If you're playing with 1 or 2 players, you'll use the opposite side of the board and you won't use the binocular token. Choose a park card and set it next to the board. There's 6 park cards that each have unique rewards and abilities, and we're going to use Yosemite for this video, which is the park they recommend to use for your first game. And finally, roll all 5 of the dice and put them above the board where all the players can see them. During the game, you'll be selecting dice and using the icons on the dice to mark off corresponding spaces in your logbook. The white dice are free to take, but you can spend Sun to take the yellow leader dice and move the boot marker 1 space forward and take a bonus action. When the boot marker reaches the end of the trail, that represents the end of a day of hiking, when everyone will take sunset bonuses and reset for the next day. And then after the 3rd day, your adventure is over and it's time to tally up your scores, and the player with the highest score at the end of the game wins. When you're ready to get started, pick a first player and take turns going clockwise around the table. On your turn, take 1 dice and place it next to you without changing its face, then mark off the icon in one of the corresponding areas of your logbook. Your logbook has 6 areas: sunset, journal, sun, canteen, wildlife, and final scoring. Some dice icons have multiple options for where they can be used, and others only apply to 1 space. If you take a dice showing a sun icon, circle 1 empty sun space for each icon shown in the top right page of your journal. Sun can be spent for bonuses at different points of the game, so when you earn a sun, just circle it, and then when you spend it, you'll cross it out. Water is marked off in the canteen in the upper right side of your logbook. Mark off 1 water for each icon shown on the dice that you take, and you'll fill in the canteen 1 column at a time, working from left to right. Each column shows a score at the bottom, and at the end of each day, you'll score for the most valuable, fully filled column in your canteen. Landmarks, which are the forest, mountain, flower, and arrowhead, have 2 places they can be used, either the sunset or the journal area. You can choose either when you take a landmark dice, but you'll only mark 1 with each dice that you take. There's 4 different types of landmark. There's forests, mountains, flowers, and then a park-specific landmark represented by the arrowhead. If you choose the sunset section, fill in any available circle in the matching space in your sunset section of your logbook. So taking a forest dice lets me fill in any unfilled circle in this section of my logbook. You'll earn bonuses for each circle filled in the sunset area at the end of each day when the boot marker reaches the end of the trail. If you want to use a landmark in your journal, draw a picture of the landmark you chose in one of the empty left side journal pages. Your journal section has a number of empty spaces that you'll be filling in, and you're literally drawing pictures of the landmarks you see as you fill it in. Then later you'll be writing in the pages next to your drawing. You'll draw landmarks from top to bottom, left to right, starting with the center top journal space. The top left space is pre-filled for you with the parks logo. If you pick the arrowhead landmark, check your national park card for the park-specific landmark, which at Yosemite is a waterfall. So if I chose this dice and I want to use it to journal, I would draw a waterfall in one of the empty spaces. When you take a dice with a pencil, it represents writing in your journal. Each journal has 3 lines for writing, and when you take a pencil, you'll squiggle out 1 line in a journal that already has a picture on it. And the top left journal with the Parks logo is already ready to write in at the start of the game, but you can never write a line in a journal that doesn't have a picture on the left page. Once you've filled in all 3 lines of a journal, you're going to get a bonus based on the picture in the journal you finished. If it was a forest, fill in a binocular space. If it was a mountain, write a line in one of your available journals. If it was a flower, fill in the next water spot in your canteen. And if it was a park-specific landmark, check your park card, which at Yosemite, that bonus is to fill in the next sun space. When you take a dice showing wildlife, you're going to get an instant bonus. You always cross out the wildlife spaces from left to right, and you take the bonus shown. So if I take this fish, I'll cross off the first space, and then I'll fill in the next open space in my canteen. If it shows a turtle, you'll outline the number of suns shown. If it's a bear, you'll fill in that number of lines in your journal. And if it's a bird, you'll fill in that number of circles in any of the sunset sections of your logbook. When you cross out the wildlife space on both sides of a scoring shield, circle that shield to remind you to score it at the end of the game. And finally, when you take binoculars, fill in any open circle in the binoculars area. When you've filled in both of the circles next to a bonus, cross it out and take it immediately. A paw lets you cross out and take the next bonus for any 1 wildlife that you choose. And the landmark bonus acts as if you had taken a dice with that icon, so either marking a sunset space or drawing in your journal. And that's your turn. You're going to take a dice and fill in or draw the corresponding space in your logbook. And I know during this video I've been swapping dice as I've demonstrated them, but when you take a dice, you're going to keep it next to you until someone takes the leader dice, and at that point all of the dice will be collected and re-rolled. And now let's talk about the leader dice. If you want to take the leader dice, you have to cross out 1 sun in your logbook for each white dice remaining. So if all of the white dice are there, that's 4 suns. If no white dice are there, that's free. But in a situation like this, that would cost 2 suns in order to take the leader dice. If you don't have the sun available to spend, then you can't take the leader dice. When you take the leader dice, cross out the spent sun in your logbook. Then you get to do 2 actions. First, you do the action on the dice just like you would for any other dice. So for this, I would mark out the next water space in my canteen. Then move the boot to the next trail marker and use the icon on that marker just like you would for a dice with that icon. So for this one, I would either fill in a mountain space in the sunset area or draw a mountain in my logbook. Then every player, including the person who just took the dice, gets to fill in 1 line in a journal space matching the icon on the trail marker. So for this, I would get to fill in 1 line next to that mountain in my journal. And if it's the binoculars, you can fill in any available journal space to fill in 1 line, but remember, you can never fill in a line on a journal that doesn't have a picture on it. After you've finished your turn, when you take the leader dice, pass all of the dice to the next player and they'll roll the dice and choose one to use on their turn, and then play continues until someone takes the leader dice and moves the boot to the end of the trail. This represents the end of your day of hiking, and when that happens, you're gonna finish your turn like you normally would, then you'll resolve the sunset. At the end of each day, you'll take all of your sunset bonuses that you've earned. There's 5 spaces with sunset bonus, the 4 in the top left of your logbook and 1 on the park card. For the spaces in your logbook, take 1 bonus for each circle that you filled in. For each circle under a journal icon, you'll write a line in a matching journal. And for each circle under a sun, water, or binocular, fill in a matching space. And for each circle under the yellow dice, roll the leader dice and resolve the result. You also have the option to spend suns to take the park-specific sunset bonus. For Yosemite, that's to spend 2 suns and then choose 2 different bonuses of the 3 available, either binoculars, a pencil, or a water. And each park has its own unique bonuses. Once you've resolved all of your sunset bonuses, write the highest earned canteen score in the space for that round. And you're not adding up the columns, you're just scoring the highest completed column, which for me is 3 points. So I would write 3 in the round 1 canteen space. Then it's time to reset for the next day. Move the boot marker back to the trailhead and randomly put 1 marker on each trail space. Then the next player in turn order rolls the dice and starts the next round. Your hike ends after the sunset phase on the 3rd day, and then it's time to move on to final scoring. In addition to your 3 rounds of canteen scores, you'll earn 1 point for every line written in your journal and 5 extra points if you sketched the final page in your journal. So for my journal, I would get 13 points for lines written in. In the wildlife section, add up all of the scoring shields that you've circled, and remember, you get those by taking the bonuses on both sides of that shield. So for this, I would get 8 points. And finally, check the park card for the park-specific scoring, which in this case, you get 5 points for each full set of 4 landmarks, of which I have 1 full set, so that's 5 additional points. Add up your total score, and the player with the highest score wins, and ties are friendly because that means you both had a great day hiking. If you want to play solo, you can find those rules on Ranger Teddy's Trail Guide, and there's only a few modifications. You'll start the game with 2 suns, and on your turn you can take any dice for free, including the leader dice, or pay 2 suns to take the leader dice and 1 white dice. The boot marker advances every turn, and you only get the trail marker bonus if you took the leader dice that turn, but regardless of whether you get the bonus, you still get to fill in 1 line in a matching journal, then you're going to re-roll all the dice. The back of the solo rules card has a list of park-specific bonuses that will earn you extra sun as you play, and the rest of the solo game plays just like normal, and then at the bottom of Ranger Teddy's Trail Guide, you'll find a list of scoring benchmarks. And that's Parks Roll and Hike. If you have any questions, be sure to leave a comment below and we'll answer as quick as we can. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.